Hey guys, happy holidays! So today I'm going to be showing you how to play Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas that I've arranged for solo violin, viola, and cello. And so as an early Christmas gift, I've left you the sheet music in the Ray Music Arrangements group on Tonic. Definitely go grab that and follow along. I've left a link for you in the description below. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so this starts with the intro here that is usually played by the piano, but instead we're going to make it happen. So you start in first position. And then you have a double stop. If this is too difficult, just play the top line. But if you're up for it and feeling ambitious, you can play both parts. So you'll have to switch over pretty quickly, but you can mask that between the bow changes, right? For the next bar, pretty standard here. But then the last chord on this, where you do have to extend your fourth finger over. But what I do is I have the fourth finger ready to go as I'm playing the third chord. So already it's extending, and then you shift to third position. And during this shift, I don't continue with the slur because the music is starting to get a little more lush. So there's a quick series of changes and shifts here in position. So you have to do shift to third, shift to second, and then shift again to first. And then you have the fourth bar. Now, here's fifths, so you have to flatten the fingers to play the fifths. And again, this quick extension of the fourth pinky. At the end of bar 2, I sort of slow down a little bit just to take a breath. That's phrasing, and in classical music we do that quite often. It creates a breathing sort of motion and a rise and a fall. Accelerate gently, da, 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 da. And then we start with the first, I guess, verse. This is pretty simple. I do it all in the G string. If that's a little too ambitious, you can also do it in first position. What will help create that warmth is a not too heavy bow. Once you have it going, then together with your vibrato, you can gently glide it forward. I like to go to third position here. And I use a fourth finger harmonic there. So you'll notice that there's a rest on the third bar of the first verse. However, I kind of play into the rest on both sides of it. The thing about music is that you have these things that are written down and they're kind of like words on paper, but then you as the artist, you add your interpretation to it. And oftentimes things are not to be taken literally. The rest implies a breath. So once we've done that, then that's all that's needed. So let's continue here. So I use that open D string to shift into third position there. I always like to use that open strings as a means to get to places. Then I shift back down to first position. Of course, all of this can be done in first position, by the way. The reason I like to keep it in third is that way I don't change the texture, the color too much across 3 strings. I keep it to 2 strings. So your first finger should be on the F natural already, so what you want to do is lean back the entire hand, but while keeping that second finger firmly in place. I don't mean tense, right? You don't want it to be too tight. You want to make sure that you can still move your fingers as necessary. Now, this next part, the shift is kind of a little bit difficult even for me, because you have to shift 2 notes and create a slide. And then we go back to the same verse again. So this is all the same. But here's where it's different. We start to play some of the accompaniment part, shift into the third position. Sort of extend our first finger back down. But then we are back in third position again. And again, there's a few shifts around here. You're sort of playing 2 parts here. You're playing the part of the melody, but then you're also playing the counter melody as well. So here, it's the counter melody. But then it hands over to the main melody. We've shifted into second position with a 3 into another 3, with a 1 on the bottom. The fourth finger is not as agile as the other fingers. It's not as strong. So you might have to manually use your hand to push that into position, especially as you've got the third finger placed already. Again, if you want an alternate, then I would come back here with a counter melody. But for those of you who are insistent, of course, on playing all the melodies, including the counter melody, then definitely throw your fourth finger up. A good way is to practice them separately. And then use the bow change as a disguise, as a way to mask it. And then so again, that's the counter melody. This is really like back and forth here. And we're ready for this next part of this verse. So here we have, again, it's both melody and counter melody, and then lower the 2. Now, here's a half position where you lower the 3. This is easier than, I would say, switching the second finger over to the D string. The reason is that you also get a nice slide. And then here I shift up here. There's a kind of call and response. So you call, respond. After the response, then you kind of respond again. I shift into second position there. And then I'm in first again. So I do 2-2. And you'll notice I'm doing these slides. They're kind of used to create a sense of warmth, but also to increase the smoothness of the sound. Virtually impossible to just do that, right? So you might as well just lean into it by sliding. So if you made it this far, congratulations. We're definitely at the halfway point and we're ready to enter into the second part of the piece. We start in third position here, and I like to create a sound that's like very crisp, cold, but clean morning air. Before you had this like very warm by the fire sound, and this is sort of like, okay, a breath of fresh air. So this is luckily all in first position, so this shouldn't be too difficult. And then we go on. So this is a little bit tricky because you have to lift the fingers precisely when you're changing the bow. Again, we have to use the bow change to mask the change of the fingers. And then I put my fourth finger down along with the second. And I use the fourth with the open E string. And then I shift down for a nice slide into the third position. And then a slide into the fourth position to prepare for another slide into, gosh, I don't even know what position this is. That top note is like the glory moment of the piece. And so really enjoy that when you get there. So we use the 3-3 to slide down. And then we're in this position to place our fingers as they come. 1, 3, 2. And then I slide down into the F natural again. All right, and so we're close to the end of the piece. This part, I like to play on the A string, kind of feeling. Very nice slide. This is called the underslide, or also known as the high fit slide. With the high fit slide, what you want to do, start with the lower note, and then you aim for a little bit under the upper note, and then you kind of like hockey slide or a side stop that skiers do. So you... right there. And this will take you a couple of tries to get right. And then you can even do it again just to differentiate the note. I like to do that. Smaller one the second time. Right here, so we are on the A string, we slide down. And I like to slur this in as well as add into the, I guess, double stops. But then you'll notice that I lift off the A string. This is for clarity, and so I can place. Slide down. Just one lone F sharp. And then this part is hard. So again, you can choose to only play the top melody, but this is meant to signify like kind of the soft snowflakes falling. So I like to use chords here. Right, so again, not easy. You can kind of hear it yourself if you tap it gently. This is all in the same position. So once you have it locked in, you should be able to play everything perfectly in tune, at least for that entire bar. And then you have to shift. Shift here. I sometimes use a little bit of vibrato to disguise my shifts and intonation, because then you can kind of say, well, it's really just a slow slide, and then you kind of like find your note, right? After the last snowflake, then we kind of go into this beautiful broken down chord. And then I use a harmonic there. We kind of like look to the stars. Feel free to kind of melt into each other. And then use the one here. It's a harmonic, the note D on the A string. But if you lift the finger gently, and then you can shift to first position to make an artificial harmonic. As it gets like quieter, I trail the one. So this last chord would be like this. Just like that. All right, and so there you have it. That's how you play Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Now, there's a little over a week before Christmas happens, so make sure you go ahead and practice it. You've got time. Don't worry, you can do just the top parts like I said. And of course, I'm going to tell you that the best place to practice it, especially testing in front of others before you play it for your friends and family, is on Tonic. Oh, and I wanted to take this moment to thank you, yes, you, for being supportive of me. This has been an incredible year. I think I haven't been this active in forever, actually at all. I can't say that I've ever been more active than I have now, and it's because of you. So as a little gift, I want to play this in its entirety for you. All right, here you go.